In this episode, I will be sharing with you my ranunculus, a shawl, some socks, basically a lot of projects, including crochet and sewing. So let's get started. Good day everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mariette, also known as Die Boervrou, and this is episode 41 of the Crafty Stitches Podcast. Today is the 12th of July 2023 and I'm coming to you from South Africa. So we are in winter. We have passed the middle of winter, but it is actually getting very cold now. So we need all of the things to keep us warm and cozy. Right, so today I have quite a lot of things to share with you, which includes crochet and sewing. So I think we should jump straight into what I have finished. So my first finished project is this simple shaped cowl in the double knit version that I knit from L5050. This is the label, L5050, which is a 50% acrylic, 50% superwash wool. It has 150 meters on 50 grams, and this color is 050 dark jeans, and I bought this from Arthur Bales. Right, so this cowl is now finished. It is my sample that I knit for the pattern that will be out soon, which is the simple shaped cowl double knit version. I used about 120 grams for this one, and I will put a picture up here of what it looks like when it is lying flat, so that you can see the shape properly, because yes, it is keeping me cozy at the moment, so I'm not taking it off. Alright, so that is my first finished project, and then I have half a finished project, which is one of my pair of socks. So in the previous episode I was at where this little stitch marker is that keeps my progress. It is from Annegret from Pincushion Crafts, and this is the first sock that I have finished. This pattern is the Felicity socks, which is my own pattern, and I finished this one so that I can start the second sock for Sock Week, which is hosted by Nitty Natty. So this yarn is from Estereza Yarn Creations. It is a 20% kit mohair, 30% nylon and 50% superwash wool. It's got 390 meters on 100 grams, and yes, it's a 4-ply yarn, and I'm really enjoying this yarn. I think it's going to be very nice and cozy. I am knitting this on 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circulars, and yes, as you can see, the first one is finished and I am busy working on the second one, and I will share that in the works in progress. I'm also knitting these for Summer Sock Camp that is hosted by Kay from the Crazy Sock Lady, so this sock will qualify for that, even though it was knit before Sock Week, but it still works for Summer Sock Camp, even though it's Winter Sock Camp for me. But anyway, so I think that is it for finished projects, and we can move over to what is on my needles and my hook and what I'm sewing at the moment. So let's talk about those. Right, so the first project that I want to share with you is my ranunculus. It is the fourth one that I'm knitting at the moment. I am using Yama Fiber Arts yarn. It is the Merino Linen Singles, which is a 90% merino and 10% linen. It's 360 meters on 100 grams. It's a fingering weight, and the colorway that I am using is called Masala. Right. Let me get this out. It is the most beautiful colorway. Alright, so in the previous episode, I was at the point of that stitch marker that now is turned around. Let's just turn it around. Okay. Is that gonna work? Yes. So I was at that point with the little stitch marker is, which is also from Annegret from Pincushion Crafts. Now I finished the body and I did the first sleeve. So for this one, I knit the sleeve just straight without any decreases, and I also did the short row shaping that is in the pattern for the sleeve before you do the bind off, and I'm not sure that I like it. So I am definitely going to frog back a little bit and just remove this short row shaping. I will put a picture up here of what it looks like when it's lying flat, and to me it seems like it's making a little, almost looks like a little bowl, and I suspect the reason why I don't like it and why it looks funny for this garment is because I'm not knitting my ranunculus at the same gauge as in the pattern. I am knitting with 4.5mm needles instead of 6mm needles. So my fabric is not as drapey as the original and as the designer intended. So I'm sure that is why my little bit of short rows looks funny to me. So I'm just going to frog that back, and then I'm going to redo this I-cord bind off for this sleeve. Right, so what did I change? For this one, as all of my other ones, no, two of the previous ones, I omitted the short rows in the front, but I did do them at the back. And then I think that is all that I changed. Oh, and the increases, of course. I split my ranunculus as per size 1, the sleeve stitches and the body stitches, and then I just kept increasing until I got to the right size that I wanted for my body. I did make a lot of notes on my Ravelry project page, so if you are interested in that, you can have a look at that. It will be linked down below in the description box. And yes, as I said, I just knitted my sleeves straight without any decreases, and I'm just going to fix that little bit of a short row mishap that I don't like, and then the first sleeve will be done, and then I'm on to the second sleeve. And I still do have a lot of yarn left. To finish the second sleeve, so plenty of yarn. Alright, what else is there for the ranunculus? I don't think there's anything else that I should have mentioned. I just love this color with these little black specks. My goodness, so nice. Cannot wait to wear this. Looking forward to it a lot. Right, so that is the ranunculus. Let me just put it somewhere else to get a bit of space, because things next to me is crammed in so much. I think today I'm dropping them on the floor just to get some space. Right, the next project is the hat that I am knitting for my husband. I did work on it a bit, but not as much as I should, maybe. I should actually make some time to finish it, but The only problem that I have is that most of the time that I want to work on it is at night, and I can't really see that good because it's dark. The hat. Anyway, so what am I using? I am using our Family Knit Chunky, and I'm using the colorway Ash number 417, and it is 80 meters on 50 grams, and it's 100% acrylic yarn. And in my previous episode I was at that little marker from Etsy Klein that I got from Little Yarn Craft, which is my local yarn shop. Right, and I started at the top, so that is the progress that I have, which is actually not much. But anyway, I've started the ears and the ribbing that goes around the back. Not sure how much you would be able to see because this is really dark. I think that is it. I'm knitting this on 5mm US 8 needles, and as I said, it's a chunky yarn, and this is just a hat that I am making up. I did knit a double knit version for my husband previously, and he said he would like one that's a little bit thicker, so I started this chunky one and then didn't finish it last winter and started again this winter, and it's a whole story. But we are getting there, and I really want to try and finish this one before the next episode because it's quite cold now and you can actually still use it this winter. Right, so that is a priority project. I think I should put it onto my priority list. Alright, that is the hat. Right, I'm gonna drop this one to the floor as well. Okay, next project is my second sock of the pair of the Felicity socks that I'm knitting for Sock Week 2023. So this is what the yarn looks like in the yarn cake. It's really, really pretty. Really like the colors, and this is my second sock. I'm actually on the heel turn at the moment, so it's a little bit hard to show. All right. Maybe like that. Looks very funny at the moment. So maybe like that. That's a little bit better. So there's the gusset increases and the sock. So let me just take, oops, this marker and add it to the sock. Right, oh, stitches wants to fall off. Alright, so that'll keep the progress, and then we can, well, in the next episode it should be finished because I'm trying to finish it for Sock Week that ends this Sunday. So when this videos go up on Saturday, the next day. So basically when you are watching this, it ends tomorrow. So hopefully I will be done. For me, it is now Wednesday, so I still have Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So I've got 4 days. No, I can definitely finish this for Sock Week. Right. I am knitting, as I said, my own pattern, the Felicity socks. And I'm knitting this on 3.25mm 9-inch circulars from Chiagu. I did show the yarn. Did I show the yarn now? I showed it previously, but let's just recap. So it is Esteriza Yarn Creations, and it is a mohair, nylon and superwash wool blend. Right, that is the socks that I'm currently knitting on. that I can show you, because the Socktober socks I'm not showing yet. Okay, so the next project that I want to show you is very special, and I wish I had more time to spend on each project basically, because I would have loved to have this finished already, but I am trying to balance out my time on all of the projects that I'm working on. So I like the lots of projects thing. Sometimes I get a little bit stressed by all the projects because I would like to do something else, but now I already have these projects. But in another way, I really love it because I can basically choose every day what I want to work on, and I'm not starting a new project. So I don't know, it's a mixed feelings sometimes, but I would have loved to have this finished already, but we shall give it a little bit more love after sock week is finished. All right, so this project is made with Suri alpaca from Naughty Habit. I do not have a yarn label to show you, but it is 74% baby Suri alpaca and 26% mulberry. So this is what it looks like. Gorgeous yarn. And I am knitting the 4 of a kind pattern, but it is 4 shawl patterns in one, and I'm knitting the first shawl, which is the kindness shawl, and this is what I have so far. In the previous episode I was at this point, and I've knitted that much so far. It is just gorgeous and soft. Let me move that up. So I'm knitting this shawl as a test to see if the baby Suri alpaca will work for me around my neck, because all of the other fluffy yarns that I've tried so far is scratching me a little bit, so I cannot wear it around my neck. So I am knitting this one to see if we can solve that problem. And I really, really hope that this is going to work. So I hope by the next episode I would have knit far enough so that I can actually knot it around my neck and see if it works, because I'm so excited. If this works, I'll be very, very happy. Right. So that is that project. I have so many more to show you. All right. Then I have been distracted a little bit. I actually went to Arthur Bales and I saw these DPNs, and I thought, oh, I want to try the DPNs again, because previously I said I don't like DPNs, and I spoke to somebody and they said they think that my DPNs are too long, because the ones that I have is 20 centimeters and 25 centimeters long, and it's been a struggle. So when I saw these and I saw that they are 14 centimeters long, I thought, let me just give them a try. And I'm a little bit hooked on them. So I'm all out of yarn cake cozies. There's no 100-gram yarn cake cozy that is not full of yarn. So I need to make some more cozies because there's no cozy for this. Poor yarn. All right. This is the project that I am making with the DPNs, and these are the Knit Pro Smart Sticks. So I don't know, how would I show them? Like that. Anyway, so it's a set of 5 DPNs, and this is the 2.25 millimeter DPNs. When I got them, I started my Socktober sock design on them, and I immediately saw that my gauge looks like it's a little bit bigger. So after I finished the toe and knit a bit on the sock foot, I saw that this is definitely seems that my gauge is a little bit looser on them. So I stopped and I cast on this project because this pattern I'm writing up for 2.5mm needles, because when I worked it on my magic loop with 2.5mm needles, I got the same gauge as that I am getting now. So I suspect that my gauge is just a little bit looser with the DPNs, and I did see that previously when I tried to knit with the longer ones as well, the sock was suddenly too big. So I think my gauge is definitely a little bit looser. But I'm really enjoying these DPNs. I didn't ever think I would say that, but I really like them. And yes, this is going to be a mitten. So it will have a closed finger and a closed top. And let me just move this marker up here. I just used it to keep the front of the mitten when I was working on the cuff. So this stitch marker is made by Itsy Klein, and it was in one of the sock boxes from Naughty Habit. What can I tell you about this? The yarn. Right, let's talk about the yarn quickly. So the yarn is the Schachenmeyer Perfect 4-ply sock yarn. It is a 75% virgin wool and 25% nylon, or polyamide. What is it? What does it say? Polyamide. Polyamide, and it is 420 meters on 100 grams, and this color is 01347, and I'm really enjoying it a lot. It's beautiful, and I'm just enjoying this. So something I wanted to show you is I'm doing a 1x1 rib on the cuff, and I have found that my 1x1 rib is a little bit neater on the back side, as you will be able to see there. But I decided to not turn this around. So what I usually do is I do a German short row stitch and turn the work around, and then I use the inside of my ribbing as the outside. But for this one I decided I'm not going to do that, and I'm just gonna love this ribbing as it is, because that is how I make ribbing. So yes, this is my 1x1 ribbing. A little bit sloppy on the outside, but we are loving it. And this is the right hand mitten. Put it on. Right. Like that. I'm liking it a lot. Right. So yes, I've been a little bit distracted by DPNs, and I'm looking forward to finishing up this pattern, and there's still a lot of work to do on it. But in the meantime, I'm enjoying the yarn, I'm enjoying the DPNs, and I'm enjoying the whole process of making this mittens. So I think I will make the second mitten to match, because this is perfect yarn. So I will wind off the yarn to the next yellow line there, and then I will recreate the second mitten to look the same as the first. I'm not sure how the thumb is going to look, because knitting in a smaller circumference I might get very big stripes, or maybe I will manipulate it to be shorter stripes. I don't know. We shall see when I get to that. But that is the mittens that I'm working on. Right, then my crochet project. At first I did not want to show it, but I think we will show it this time. I just realized that I'm not sure where the yarn label is. Let me check. Found it. Right. See, I didn't want to show it, and I didn't even take out the yarn label. But anyway, So this is also a design that I'm working on, and I've been working on it for quite a while, and I think it is working at the moment, so I'm showing it so long. So it is going to be a cowl, but this is the yarn that I'm using for it. I hope that shows true color, I'm not sure. And this yarn is Kaleidoscope singles. It is 360 meters on 100 grams. It is 100% superwash merino, and that is the colorway name. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, so I hope that was visible. Right. I did block this partially, so just to see how it stretched, and then I just continued with the project. So this is what it looks like at the moment. I'm really liking how this yarn is working up. It is really pretty. And this is the crochet version of the simple shaped cowl. When I released the simple shaped light version, I got a lot of requests and people asked, am I going to do a crochet version? And I thought, well, that is a very good idea, because when I started this journey of shaped cowls long ago, I did make a crochet one for a friend. And then I thought, well, let's just do it again. So I am working on it at the moment. I did at first try to do the front post, back post ribbing, but it was flaring a lot, too much basically. So I did this single crochet ribbing, and I did make it a little bit looser so that it can lie nicely on your shoulders when you wear this. So these cowls are knit from the top down, and this one is crocheted from the bottom up. So I'm going to do some decreases while working my way up to the top. Alright, let me get a marker. Let's just grab this one. So this is another marker by Itsy Klein. We'll keep some progress on this project. Very excited about that. So you see, I have too many projects, too many designs going all at the same time. But I love it. So anyway, so I have two balls of this. And as you can see, I've already done some things. Frog back. Try it again. And this is where all of my yarn cake cozies are. So this and everywhere else. Alright. So that is the crochet version of the simple shaped cowl, coming sometime in the future. Alright. So that is the yarn projects that I'm working on, and then I have 2 sewing projects. Actually, I've got lots of sewing projects, but I have 2 that I want to show you because I really need to get some progress done on them. And I'm hoping that that will help me to be a little bit more accountable on these projects. So one is for a client. Maybe I should show that first. So I am making this pattern, and I'm doing view B, but we are altering it a bit by not adding pockets and not adding that shoulder piece thing on top of the front and the back panel of the shirt. It's going to be just black. Yes. So when I was looking at a video some months ago from Expression Fiber Arts, Shandy said that they were taught to always take a little bit of scrap fabric and do just a quick project of the thing that you want to make sure that it actually fits. So I did that for some skirts or something in the past. I think I might have shown it in the podcast, I'm not sure. But anyway, so I remembered that, and when this customer asked me to make them some shirts, not that I'm a tailor, just helping out some people, I remembered that and I thought, all right, that is a fantastic idea. So I took all of the measurements, I traced out the pattern on the size that was closest to the measurements, and I just quickly sewed up a sample. You will see that it's not nearly finished, and I've done no finishing basically on it because it's just a sample, and it is just made in some calico, I think it's called. In Afrikaans we call it ongebleikte linne, I think. But anyway, so this is the prototype. And as you can see, I have done no finishing at all. I just added the cuff to the sleeve to see where it should be altered. It has, I'm now thinking very hard what this is called in English because I learned to sew in Afrikaans. Darts. That's what it's called. So it's got darts in the front and it has darts in the back. So it is nice and shaped. And this is what I need to alter. The back needs to be a little bit smaller than the fronts. The fronts are fitting perfectly. And then obviously it will get a collar and all of those things. So this is my prototype, and I need to lengthen the sleeves, I think with 4 centimeters. But yes, that was the first time I've actually done that for a shirt. And the thing that is very nice is that this shirt, it almost fit me. So for me, the back panel is completely fine, but I need, I think, about a centimeter space on each front side of the shirt, and then I can make the shirt for me too. So that is very nice. So I got the fabric. I actually have it here. I think it's this one. So they just want the shirt in a white, and this is a white, it said white cotton shirting, I think, but it's got a little bit of a stretch in it, so it stretches that way a little bit. Anyway, I was taught by my mother that before you ever cut out anything in sewing, you wash the fabric first, because if it shrinks or do whatever, it can do that beforehand. I am so terrified of washing this white fabric. I am not putting it into my washing machine, because if it makes a mark on this fabric, I will not survive. So I'm going to wash this by hand in a bucket and just hang it on its side on the washing line to dry, because I am too afraid that it's going to make marks. Because living on a farm with all of the mud and things, I'm too afraid to wash anything white in my washing machine. So this still needs to be washed. I bought all of this, the buttons as well as the fabric and the thread that I'm going to use for this at Arthur Bales when I was there. So yes, I also bought some fabric to make a sheet for our bed, which is also white, but that I will throw in the washing machine because it's going to be ours. But I cannot make a shirt with stained fabric for a customer if that happens, so I'm not doing that. Anyway, so that is the one sewing project that is going on. So I need to get that washed and started. Then I am making a jacket for my husband. So this fabric I also bought from Arthur Bales, but I bought this fabric with the owl merino yarn that I knit my ranunculus out of, which actually arrived on the 2nd or the 3rd of May or the 4th of May somewhere, and I still haven't made the jacket. So one thing I realized when I was putting these things together is that sewing projects is not so much fun to show as a work in progress as knitting projects, because for this jacket I just have a pile of pieces. Just parts of the thing, so it's not really, nothing is assembled yet. The only thing that I did is I cut out all of the pieces and I have sewn them with my overlocker just to finish off all of the sides, and I need to assemble it. So yes, I cannot really show you, well, I will see if I can put a picture up here of the jacket that I made of this specific pattern 12 or 15 years ago, I'm not sure. I actually unraveled one of the jackets that he had and really loved, and I made a sample and it looked terrible. And I adjusted all of the pattern pieces and I made the second one, which is this brown one that I will show you, and then this will be the third one that I make. So I cannot share a pattern with you because it was just a jacket that I unraveled. So it's going to be just a jacket with a zipper in the front, and the pockets also has zips and a collar. So it's just like a basic fleece type of jacket, but I'm not sure if this is really fleece, but it's called fleece in the shop, but it looks a lot like tracksuit pant fabric, if that makes sense. But anyway, I've got a pile of pattern pieces that I need to assemble and get this jacket finished because he really needs it. And just for fun, this is the pattern pieces that I made, and I have no idea how I assembled this thing. I'm gonna have to put the jacket on a hanger against my door and try and figure it out, because of all of the notes that I made for this jacket, this is all I have. Just that. So it is going to be a challenge, but I will figure it out. So that is what my pattern looks like. Alright, I think that is all of the projects that I have at the moment. So I can quickly share a future plan, which is yarn related. I actually want to make a gift for a friend, so I want to knit another one of these cowls for them, and I ordered the yarn from Arthur Bales, and I was thinking when I made the notes this morning that I will just share about it, but they have speedy delivery service and the yarn's already delivered and I've already caked it up. So I just bought some more of the L5050 yarn, and this one, it's got the same label, it's also double knit, and this one is 051 in the color grey. So I bought 3 balls and I'm just going to knit another one of these. So that is the next project that is getting onto my needles, because I want to finish it as soon as possible, because I would like to give this as a gift and for it to be still very usable while it's cold. I also ordered another one. Not sure if that is shape. So because my gauge is a little bit looser, I thought, well, let me try the 2mm for sock knitting. So I will see how that works. But that is all that I bought. Midnight shopping, out of bed. Alright, what else? I think that is all of the projects that I can show for this episode. So let's move over to find out what's been happening. Right, so on my notes, I have 0 notes for what has been happening. I think most of what has been happening is a lot of projects, as you just saw. Right, so by the time this podcast goes up, I hope to have this pattern released. So this is a little Tunisian project dishcloth that I have designed. I think previously I might have shared this one very long ago in one of the episodes. But in the meantime, I decided that I don't like this one that much. So I adjusted the gauge a little bit and I made this one, and I'm much happier with this result. So I adjusted my pattern, and this is the dishcloth. So this is basically the honeycomb Tunisian stitch, which is only made with Tunisian simple stitches and Tunisian pearl stitches, and then the border around it is just normal conventional crochet, and it is made with Moya shimmer, which is a 50% bamboo, 50% cotton yarn. And I decided to call this dishcloth the Apiarist Dishcloth. And Apiarist is a keeper of bees, a beekeeper basically. And because it's got this honeycomb stitches, I thought that is a fitting name. So I hope when this episode goes up that the Apiarist dishcloth will be available. And I will link it down below. As you can see, I also made it a little bit bigger than the previous one. Just a smidge, but I like it a lot. Very nice. Okay. That's the dishcloth. Oops. All right. Yeah, what else has been happening? I have been working on a carpet that a family member asked me to add a piece of Velcro on for them. They want to hang it up on a wall, and I have an industrial sewing machine, and it took me more than an hour to figure out how to wind it and use it, because I haven't worked with it a lot and I haven't worked with it recently. I think the previous time I used it, I was making like shade cloth covers for a structure outside that I used to keep chickens in. But anyway, so that took me a while to figure it out, and I do have a little booklet for it, but the one that I have was downloaded from the internet and it is very bad quality. So my husband came to the rescue and he found another version that I can actually read. So I printed it out and we figured it out, and he helped me because the carpet is a bit stiff and I couldn't just do it by myself. So I will put a picture. And yes, so I did that. And then in the previous episode I shared that we had a veld fire at the back of our farm and we were there fighting fire. And when I was going to fight the fire, I did not think about the clothes that I was wearing. So afterwards, when I washed my clothes, I saw that I have a few holes in them because of the fire. It melted 4 holes, 2 in my pants and 2 in my shirt, which is actually this shirt. So I fixed that up. As you can see there. But anyway, so I had to do some mending also this past 2 weeks. Fixed my pants, fixed my shirt, and now we can wear it again. So I still actually have a stack of things to mend, but let me not start with that. Right. I also was very fortunate to get a gift from a friend, which is a dressmaker's doll. I do have a very old one that is still, it's made with wire, and you actually get into the doll and somebody needs to, so you get into the doll and somebody needs to press and fit this thing to the form of your body. Well, that's how I understand it. But anyway, so I do have that. But when I got this one now, it is making life so much easier. The doll is a little bit small for me because you get 2 different sizes of dolls. You get the smaller one that goes up to 100 centimeters, and then the bigger one goes up from there. But this one is very handy because, like the shirt that I'm making for my client, they have a little bit of a smaller bust circumference than I have, so I can actually set the doll up to their measurements and I can fit it to see that everything goes smoothly. So I'm very happy about that. That is going to make life much easier. All right, I think that is everything that I can share for today. I will also now again put my podcast recommendations on the screen for you, and I will also link those 2 channels down below so that you can go and check that out. That is everything from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. If you are a new viewer, I hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you will consider sticking around. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see any more of my content. And I will see you in the next one. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye!